Well, Tracy, today's topic is for all those wonderful married couples out there. We're going to talk about personality types in marriage. So, couples, hear this. Understanding your temperament can help you appreciate your spouse rather than trying to change them into your likeness.
Yeah, this topic is based on the Myers-Briggs personality type inventory. And actually, we have it linked below. You could do it for free to get a sense for what you are on the Myers-Briggs personality type test.
So, this is that personality test where there are four letters that identify each type of temperament. You're either an introvert or extrovert. That's the first letter. You're either a sensor or an intuitor. That's the second letter. You're a thinker or a feeler. That's the third one. And you're a judger or a perceiver. So, Tracy, let's unpack this a little bit. I know for people who have taken this test, maybe it's helpful for them to know, how does this impact my marriage?
A lot of the conflict that we have in marriage is because we're different people. That's why this is such a great topic to work through with your spouse, because it's not about wanting to make your spouse like you. What you want to do is be able to appreciate who they are, who's different than you. So understanding your personality type and your temperament can help you guys move down the road in conflict to be like, now I understand why you think that way or do it that way.
All right, so here's the first letter. You're either an I or an E, an introvert or an extrovert. And this one is all about how you get recharged. Introverts are energized by alone time and solitude. Extroverts are recharged by being around people.
This is an important distinction because I think a lot of people have misunderstandings about what an introvert or an extrovert is. An introvert doesn't mean that they don't like people. It just means that when they need to be energized or refueled, they need that to be done in alone time, whereas an extrovert's going to be recharged and refueled being around people. So think about it in your marriage. If you're an introvert married to an extrovert, maybe you guys have experienced conflict where your extroverted spouse wants to go out and make plans with friends all the time, and you're like, I just want a night home alone, and you find yourselves fighting over that. Well, that's because you have a different temperament. One of you is energized by the being home alone and time of solitude, while the other one wants to be around people.
All right, the second letter is either an S for sensor or N for intuitor. Sensors like to process information with concrete ideas and measurable results, while intuitors like to dream of all the possibilities and they get bored pretty easily.
Yeah, so this temperament is defining how you process information, how you take in information from the world and bring it into yourself. So a sensing personality wants to see concrete ideas. They want to see specific things, and then they want to know, what am I supposed to do with that information? They want to have measurable results or measurable actions to take. Whereas the intuitor kind of likes seeing all of the possibilities that information gives them. They don't want to just settle on one, or they don't want to do that right away. They want to kind of dream, and they want to explore new possibilities because their temperament's going to say it's boring to just make a decision and then have a measurable result. Why can't we dream a little bit about how we could use this information in our life?
All right, so let's say we're planning a vacation and one of us is a sensor and one of us is an intuitor. How's that going to work out in a marriage?
Yeah, so maybe you guys have spent a lot of time on these travel sites and you've got this fabulous trip idea to Europe. So the sensing personality is going to be like, okay, this is a lot of information. We need to make a plan. We need to make specific reservations. We need to know exactly what excursions we're doing and just have it all lined out.
So this is where I'm going to break out my spreadsheet.
Right. For the sensor, a spreadsheet is fantastic. But the intuitor is going to be energized more by just the endless possibilities. They don't want the spreadsheet. They want to just think about, well, we could do this, and we don't have to plan it all now. Let's just show up there and just do whatever we want to do, how we feel on any given day. So you can see how that could bring about conflict, that you're going on vacation, which is awesome, but your temperaments are approaching vacation in a very different way.
All right, now the third one is a dandy because it's the thinker versus the feeler. Thinkers are objective and analytical and will make hard decisions even when they're unpopular. Feelers, on the other hand, when they're making a decision, they're motivated more by how actions affect others. So they're thinking about people. They're not just thinking about the facts.
Yeah, this temperament describes how you make decisions. So the thinker is just going to look at the facts and the information, they'll analyze it, and then they're going to spit out the right decision. And they're not going to really think about, how does this decision affect other people? And they're not even actually maybe even going to care if people don't like the decision they make. But the feelers are going to be making decisions more based on, well, how does that decision make that person feel or this person feel? And it's more emotionally driven, recognizing that decisions have an impact on people and they care more about how other people will feel about it than just the facts.
Okay, so I can see this becoming an issue in parenting. Let's say that your kid comes home with some subpar grades and one of you's a thinker, one of you's a feeler.
Yeah, so the thinker's going to say, okay, you got a bad grade. We know you're better than that. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to come home right from school. You're not going to do any extracurricular activities. You're going to study for 3 hours. You're going to retake 4 tests. You're going to get your grade up and just go right to, analyzing the information and coming up with some results. Whereas the feeling parent's going to be like, well, now hold on. Let's not just launch right into all these things that our kid needs to do. Let's sit down and find out if there's some other things going on. Maybe they've got some stress with friends. Maybe there's some other reasons that our kid is not performing as well as they could academically. Again, thinking more about the emotions rather than just looking at the information itself.
So, Tracy, this is one where it's probably especially helpful if one parent is more of a thinker and the other one's more of a feeler. What do you do when both of you are thinkers? You're both accountants.
Well, if you have two thinkers in your marriage, then you're going to need to borrow more emotional traits. You're going to have to learn how to think about the emotions behind decision making, not just the information. If you're two feelers in a marriage, then you're going to have to borrow some of those thinker traits and say, okay, we can't make decisions just based on emotions. We need to look at facts and information and make a good and wise decision, even if it doesn't make us feel great.
All right, that leaves us with one more letter. This is the judger versus the perceiver. Judgers enjoy a lifestyle of routine and order, and they're uncomfortable with chaos. Perceivers, on the other hand, are easily distracted. They love to explore. They love to play.
So this temperament's really about lifestyle, how you like to interact with the world around you. So a judging personality, it's not about being judgmental. It's about you like order. You like routine. When you're functioning in your world, you are a happier and more peaceful person with a routine and structure. By contrast, perceivers enjoy the idea of just playing and exploring, and they don't want to be bound by routine. They like a little bit of chaos. Some of these people might start lots of projects and maybe don't finish any of them. Eventually they will, but they just kind of like to explore and to go about the world and interact with the world in more creative ways.
Now, couples, I think the overall point for these personality types is that there's not one personality type that's right. The point is to understand what your personality type is and then understand what your spouse's is. This way you can understand and appreciate one another instead of just being frustrated that your spouse isn't just like you.
At the end of the day, just remember compromise. Work together, appreciate one another, and you'll see that your marriage can be better tomorrow than it was today.